What is going on, guys? It is WrestleLamia. We've received so much good feedback from our videos that we thought we'd add a weekly report on Raw, Smackdown and the latest rumors in the wrestling world. This means WrestleLamia is now the only place you need to go for all your wrestling content. With the Royal Rumble less than 3 weeks away, you know the WWE will be building up the pay-per-view, and this was apparent on both Raw and Smackdown. So let's get into it with the Raw recap. The Big Easy was the place to be for the 9th January edition of Raw, with Raw coming from New Orleans, Louisiana. The show got off to a hot start with a handicap title match between US champion Roman Reigns and Jericho. The match doesn't start though, as Braun Strowman runs in and attacks Reigns. The three heels go to work on Reigns until a chair-wielding Seth Rollins joins the melee and helps his former Shield teammate. Roman and Seth clear the ring as Stephanie McMahon announces the match will still happen, only later on. In the meantime, since Seth is looking for a fight, he can now fight Braun right now. This match shows why Rollins is known as the Architect, and how the WWE is building Strowman up as a fearsome monster. Rollins knows he can't outpower Strowman, so he uses speed and targets weak areas like the knees. However, Strowman's raw power means all it takes are a couple of hits from him and the match turns into his favour. Rollins hits a frog splash on Strowman for the 2 count. When he missed a move off the top rope to the outside of the ring, Strowman then takes over, beating him down at ringside and missing the 10 count. Strowman then grabs a chair and goes after Rollins in the ring, but Seth gets the upper hand with a chair and drives him off. So far, a good opening bout that elevates Strowman without harming Rollins. While a Rollins-Strowman match could be good, there are times when an inconclusive match like this works well, entertaining the fans and whetting their appetites for future matchups. We then cut backstage, where a segment shows Sasha Banks and Bayley being confronted by Charlotte about Bayley's Royal Rumble match. Nia Jax blindsides Banks and Charlotte joins in, laying the 2 out. Charlotte looks to thank Nia for her help, but Nia shoves her back. This is a good way to show that Nia will work with Charlotte when it's useful to her, but her ultimate goal is winning Charlotte's Women's Championship. Next up was a cruiserweight bout with Jack Gallagher getting the pinfall win after hitting a running dropkick against Drew Gulak. After the match, Gallagher challenges his rival Arya Daivari to meet on 205 Live. The match was then followed with the return of the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, but it was only to hype his upcoming film, The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. Rusev and Lana protest Lana's absence from the film. Enzo wheels up in his motorized chair accompanied by Big Cass. Cass, Enzo and HBK mock Rusev, angering the big Bulgarian. Cass then challenges Rusev, but Rusev puts a reluctant Jinder Mahal against him. I gotta admit, the segment was quite funny, with Rusev showing his typical Zangief-like humour.
Quick, change the channel!
And I know HBK is a legend and all, but someone please tell him to return that rhinestone cowboy hat. So of course this then leads to Big Cass with Enzo and HBK in his corner against Jinder Mahal and Rusev and Lana in his. It's amazing how well Big Cass gets around given his size, and it was a good match with seeing HBK deliver the sweet chin music after Rusev distracts Cass. Cass then hits the East River Crossing followed by the Empire Elbow, and Mahal is left counting the lights. It seems evident that Cass and Enzo are still well over, but at some point they're gonna lose some popularity if they don't start winning on a regular basis. Wins over Jinder Mahal aren't so meaningful, so it's unclear what plans the WWE has for them right now, other than filling large blocks of time with entertaining promos. After this, we saw another cruiserweight bout, seeing the newly heel-turned Adrian Neville defeat Lince Dorado with the Rings of Saturn. After the bout, Neville continues punishing Dorado until Rich Swann runs in for the save. Definitely a good build-up for Swann and Neville program. They then cut backstage where Sasha Banks and Bayley ask Stephanie for a match against Charlotte and Nia Jax the next week. Stephanie tells them their match will be tonight, regardless of whether Sasha Banks is 100%. Next up was Luke Gallows and Sheamus, with Carl Anderson on commentary and Cesaro soon joining him. This was a good power-based match between the two. Eventually, Anderson and Cesaro begin brawling and Gallows takes his eye off the prize, allowing Sheamus to hit the brogue kick on him for the win. We then get the typical dominant female-empowered Stephanie McMahon browbeating Raw General Manager Mick Foley for failing to get The Undertaker on Raw like he promised. Stephanie has a bad performance review for Foley, that is until the lights go out and the dead man shows up. The Undertaker makes his usual spectacular entrance, complete with fog, fire and theme music. The Undertaker reveals he is entering the Royal Rumble, promising he has dug 29 holes for 29 souls. Awesome. The Undertaker says he's bringing the dark side back to the Rumble and cautions Stephanie that he answers to no one. We then get the 2-on-2 women's match with Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Charlotte and Nia Jax. Sasha is wrestling hurt, but that doesn't stop her and Bayley from taking their opponents to the limit. Charlotte's technical skills along with Jax's power makes them a tremendous team and is an example of how the two contrasting styles can make a good tag team. One miscue is all it takes to lose, and Bayley doesn't see Charlotte making a blind tag to Nia Jax. Jax then flattens Bayley, hitting the leg drop for the win. Titus has been trying to become the newest member of the New Day. Unfortunately, he fails a challenge of carrying a keg of booty juice around to the ring in 12 seconds. Kofi invites O'Neil to a match against him, which turns out no better for Titus. Kofi gets the win, thanks in part to teammate Xavier Woods distracting O'Neil, allowing Kofi to hit the Trouble in Paradise. It's pretty unclear whether the WWE actually wants Titus to join the New Day, but so far their three-man shtick is getting a little bit stale and needs a little bit of freshening up. We then get into the main event, where Reigns wasted no time taking the battle to Owens and Jericho as they made their way to the ring. This is a traditional handicap match where only one man from a team is allowed in. However, you know Owens and Jericho are going to do everything they can to win, and a lenient referee lets them double team Reigns for most of the match. Roman fights off both men, but the numbers catch up with him. Jericho hits the codebreaker and Owens follows up with a powerbomb onto the mat apron. Owens and Jericho dish out further punishment even though Reigns is done. One final codebreaker ends the match and we have a new US champion after Jericho covers Reigns. I'll admit, it was an excellent match. Handicap bouts can be difficult to execute, but here Roman Reigns loses no face by dropping the belt to Jericho, and this could be a sign the WWE is looking to put the Universal Championship on Reigns. You don't want to read into a match too closely, but you can argue Owens was eager to let Jericho win the belt so he doesn't come after him for his Universal Championship. The real question is when the WWE will begin a Jericho-Owens breakup. Considering how well Jericho has been in getting Owens over, there shouldn't be any rush to do so. I don't know if many people also saw Rusev's tweet after Jericho winning the belt, but they did have a hilarious tete-a-tete between them on Twitter. This week's Raw was a great show, with all matches advancing storylines and helping people over, such as Braun Strowman's transformation into a true menace. Now let's get into the Smackdown Live recap. Smackdown Live comes to you from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the show opens up with a new Intercontinental Champion, Dean Ambrose, and his Ambrose Asylum. Ambrose tells the fans he is entering the Royal Rumble as SmackDown's first champion entrant. Ambrose tells the fans he wanted to bring a live alligator, but he couldn't get the license. Instead, he's brought an alligator's head. He tells the fans he'd like to interview the alligator head, but he can't. Instead, he has someone slightly more interesting, The Miz and Maurice. Miz is angry about Ambrose winning the Miz's title, claiming Ambrose has already tainted a belt whose prestige has been building up. Miz tells Ambrose the referee should have ended the last week's match by disqualification after Maurice's interference. Miz offers Ambrose the chance to hand over the belt and avoid lawsuit. Ambrose hands Miz a participation award, thanking Miz for his efforts. The Miz compliments the Lunatic Fringe on his sense of humor, then throws the award in Dean's face and proceeds to attack him. Miz attacks Ambrose and holds him so Maurice can slap him. Ambrose gets out of the way and of course hilariously slaps Miz. Ambrose hits Dirty Deeds and then hands the award to Maurice. Miz is always great as playing a good, arrogant heel. Miz is perfect in the upper card, and although Ambrose could easily fit in the main event, he's so over with the fans that he doesn't even need to win the world title. This program could be a good way to elevate the Miz back to the upper card without Ambrose losing any status. We then have a one-on-one women's match with Nikki Bella versus Natalya, where Nikki goes after Natalya and it's clear Natalya will do anything to escape Nikki's wrath. Nikki is determined to punish her, and this turns into a complete brawl. Smackdown referees then try to run in and break up, but it's your typical pull apart. Natalya clips Nikki's knee as the refs are holding back the Bella sister. Natalya locks in the sharpshooter on Nikki, showing no mercy. This is no rivalry, this is a straight up feud, and the match ends of course in a no contest, as it never even started. It is amazing to see how the women's division has changed from pillow fights and lingerie matches to actual wrestling. Not only can many of the women wrestle, but they're not afraid to brawl. Kudos to Natalya and Nikki for setting up what could be an exciting feud. Backstage we had Dolph Ziggler asking about his actions last week where he attacked Kalisto after Kalisto saved him from Baron Corbin. Ziggler would then attack Apollo Crews in the locker room where Crews called him out on attacking Kalisto. Ziggler has nothing to say and just leaves. It then leads to the match of Dolph Ziggler versus Kalisto. An excellent match by two excellent workers. Kalisto and Ziggler employ a dazzling mix of fisticuffs and submission wrestling, and neither man are able to gain the upper hand. Not only do they employ some great submission holds, but they also use a lot of counter holds. Case in point when Kalisto reverses a cradle and rolls up Ziggler for the pin. After the match, Ziggler loses it and clotheslines Kalisto. Ziggler then grabs a chair and clobbers Kalisto with it. Apollo Crews tries to run in for the fail-saved, eating a chair for his troubles. It looks like Ziggler's losing streak is leading to a heel turn. Ziggler is a phenomenal wrestler, but he suffered from bad booking for the last 5 or 6 years. This could be a chance for him to move up or yet another half-baked push. We then have a Smackdown Tag Team Championship match with American Alpha versus the Wyatt family. The Tag Team Champions start the match, getting the shine against Orton and Wyatt. Eventually the Wyatts isolate Gable and go to work wearing him down. Gable then makes a hot tag, but interference by Luke Harper kills Jordan's momentum. Bray and Randy seem to have the match won when Jordan gets thrown out of the ring and Orton hits his elevated DDT. Harper keeps getting on the mat apron and it's one too many times as Gable surprises Orton with an O'Connor roll, knocking Orton into Harper and getting the pinfall. It's difficult to say whether the WWE is going with the Randy Orton Wyatt family angle. If Orton started growing a big bushy beard, the fans might believe he was falling under Bray Wyatt's spell. It's too bad because past angles involving other wrestlers joining the Wyatt family have fizzled. If the WWE gives this angle some time, it could be an interesting side to the well-rounded Randy Orton character. Backstage we then had Daniel Bryan and Becky Lynch watch Becky's win over La Luchadora last week in a post-match attack by the second La Luchadora. Bryan tells Lynch her win over Bliss has earned her a SmackDown Women's Championship match next week in a steel cage. Alexa isn't happy with having to defend her belt or in a cage. This segment was hurt by terrible acting by Bliss and Lynch. This was then followed by a match between CJ Lundy and Carmella, with James Ellsworth in her corner. Carmella dominates the match with James Ellsworth grabbing Lundy's ankle anytime she gets near him. Carmella clinches in the code of silence and Lundy taps out. The announce crew are brutal in mocking how old CJ Lundy looks, and I'm not gonna lie, her outfit looked like one of the most unsexiest things I've ever seen in the WWE. We then went into the main event of the night, Baron Corbin versus John Cena with WWE Champion AJ Styles on guest color commentary. The Lone Wolf dominates the match with his raw power. Corbin takes time to talk smack to the AJ while AJ is at ringside. Corbin wears Cena down with power moves including a sidewalk slam. He then holds him with a bear hug on Cena, but he powers out. Cena makes the comeback hitting a tornado DDT followed by a side slam. 5-knuckle shuffle and the end is near. Attitude adjustment on Corbin and a 3 count later, Cena is your winner. Cena stares at AJ who's standing on the announce table with the WWE Championship. This looks like a good build-up for what should be an entertaining match. It's a nice touch having Corbin keeping his eyes on AJ's WWE Championship even though both wrestlers are heels. AJ was good on color commentary, showing some personality you don't always see in his promos. You can argue whether Cena needed a win over Corbin, but it shouldn't hurt as everyone jobs for Cena at one point or another, and it's not like Corbin's undefeated. Now guys, let's get into the WWE news. Rumor has it that The Undertaker may face John Cena at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. Whether or not Cena has the belt, this could still be a huge match. Unfortunately, reports from the Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer claims that Vince has changed his mind and is not interested in the match anymore. It seems that we now may see a Braun Strowman vs Taker based on Strowman watching Taker's promo on Raw. Also, when Raw went off the air, it saw The Undertaker interrupt a celebration by both Jericho. Check it out.
Sorry for real, but it's a thrill to meet you, sir.
I got that recorded. I'm only doing sports.
LA County judge dismissed homicide charges against Jimmy Snuka, ruling Snuka was incompetent to stand trial due to his dementia. Prosecutors state that they are weighing their options and believe Snuka is faking his dementia. Snuka was charged in 2015 with the 1983 death of girlfriend Nancy Argentino. The TNA contracts of both Matt and Jeff Hardy are coming up again next month, and it's once again rumored that the WWE is interested in both of them. While it is yet to be confirmed, we've already had the names of the 2 first inductees released in Diamond Dallas Page and Rick Rude. There is also rumored to be a tag team induction which could see both Earthquake and Tugboat as the natural disasters being inducted. There has been some bad news for WWE wrestling legend Perry Saturn, who's reportedly set up a GoFundMe page to help him keeping from ending up homeless. There was a video that was uploaded to his Facebook page which is quite heartbreaking to watch. I'll put a link to the GoFundMe in the description below. In other news, Fred Ottman, aka Tugboat and the Shockmaster, announced on his Facebook page he has been hospitalized with an undisclosed alignment. We at WrestleLamia hope that he's okay and hopes he gets well soon. And finally, the Jetsons meet the WWE. Warner Brothers and WWE Studios announced an upcoming animated home video, The Jetsons and the WWE Robo WrestleMania. Well guys, we hope you've enjoyed our first edition of 1 week in the WWE. Be sure to let us know what you like and dislike in our comment section below. And I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.